everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. Hope you're all having an amazing day. It's New Year's Eve, so I hope you're all out celebrating. I hope you're all having fun. I hope you're all having an amazing Christmas as well, because I've not had a video since Christmas. So yeah, I hope you all had a great time. I did. Lots of food, too much food, and then seeing friends and family. So I hope you all had as good a time as me. Anyway, this is a game I played before Christmas. A very, very fun game. I was saving it because I thought we would finish the new year finish the current year in in a bit of style. So, what have we got? I am playing as the Black Pieces. We start off with a pretty standard King's Indian fianchetto system. Wow! No, so this is something I think I've said in the past. I've had a bit of trouble playing against, but I feel a lot more confident against it now. And it actually goes into a line I really, really struggled with. So it's good practice, I guess. And it is good to know that I can play against it, right? So the reason I sort of had trouble with it, because I always played knight to d7, knight bd7 instead of knight c6. And the reason I was always reluctant to play knight c6 is because of the move d5. Which is annoying. You don't want to move it back. That's the worst thing you can do. Well, the worst thing you can do is probably not move your knight, but hey. And the reason this is fine is because, the computer apparently recommends knight b4, but the way I play knight to a5. And the reason you play knight to a5 is because this pawn's actually undefended right now. So they have to waste a move defending this pawn. And in doing so, they've also blocked in their light squared bishop, which is quite nice for us. The only downside is this knight is actually almost trapped, right? There's got nowhere to go, so you need to make a move playing either b6, c6 works as well, depending on whether they get to push b4. But yeah, that's the reason why. Anyway, that's sort of what happened in the game. It's a bit of a delay, but keep that in mind. They go bishop f4 is a fine move. Again, I would probably either play e4 or d5. But fine, apparently. 0.33 versus 0.65. So no difference at all, really. And I found this quite annoying because I really, really want to push e5 to lock up this and continue with my plan of pushing on the king side. Or moving the knight to a5 like we discussed earlier. So that's kind of annoying. And I rushed a bit here and played knight h5. I don't think the computer likes it. But it's a very, very awkwardly placed knight, right? The point is you're kicking the bishop, which means you're free to potentially push e5. I thought maybe bishop g5 was good to sort of slow me down playing e5 again, but maybe it wants h6 and just kick the bishop because, you're not going back there, right? Because you just get trapped, so you got to go back somewhere. It wants bishop e3. And then that's a similar position, but you've got h6 in. I don't know, and you can push e5 if you really want to. But they decide to play it safe and go bishop to e3 first. Now, at first, I didn't think this was a particularly good move because you're sort of blocking in. Like, the bishop's not particularly healthy there, and you sort of want to play either e3 or e4. Bearing in mind, you're also not castled yet. So I thought maybe d2 was better, but the computer actually says this was the best move, which is sort of weird, but the computer's the computer. So, hey. So I was sort of unprepared for this. And I decided to go e5, which I think is standard, right? There's the whole plan. You can't let them dominate you in the center, so you've got to strike with e5. And with your bishop there as well. What can go wrong? d5 here. Slight inaccuracy, says the computer, but I don't see a problem with it at all. It goes back to more normal sort of structure. And I go knight a5. Because again, like we said, this pawn is loosey-goosey at the minute. There's nothing defending it. So they've got a few choices here. They can go knight d2, which is, spoiler alert, what they did. They can play b3. The problem with b3 is that you're really opening up this dark squared bishop in the future with an e4 move. Could be quite nice. Or alternatively, you could go a4. Queen A4, sorry, which does defend this and hits the knight at the same time. At which point, maybe we could go C6. B6, it's saying, is the solution because B4 is coming. Actually, no, B4 is not coming because you would cut off your access to the C pawn with your queen. So, interesting stuff. C6 would be my usual move, I think. Or C5. Is C5 playable? That's interesting. Apparently the computer hates that. But B6 is the safe option. Because you sometimes get this C5 square as well, depending on whether or not they've pushed B4. Once the knight reroutes from B7 to C5. Which is a quite nice square, to be honest. I quite like that. Anyway, my opponent decided to go knight D2, which is a good move. Defending this pawn. And now I come to a sort of decision. Right? I really want to push on the king side. The problem is, my knight is unhealthy, to say the least. It's one move away from getting trapped. So if I don't do something about that right now, my knight's gone. And I sort of rushed this decision a bit. I went ahead and played F5. Now, what is the reason behind F5? By the way, B6, best move. Again, just making a hole for the knight. What is the idea behind F5? The idea behind F5 is that we want to push F4. So if they go for B4, which is the best move, you know, you're winning a knight, we actually win your bishop, which is crazy. We sort of counter trap your bishop by playing F4 because they can take, but then the bishop still can't go to D4 because of our dark square bishop. So it gets tricky. It gets tricky. I don't know what the best move is. Apparently bishop to C5. That can't be right. Bishop to C5 is the best move, which is insane. And I think the point of that is, I don't know what the point of that. You maybe just damage our pawn structure, right? If we take, and then you take, and then this looks like a nice pawn, right? These kingside pawns are a bit all over the place. Apparently, E4, the best move, which is, again, insane, but you've got this discovered attack on the knight with ideas. Knight takes E4. This gets crazy. Are we taking A1? We are taking A1. But this looks a bit sketchy. You know, our king's a bit weak here. The computer likes it, though. It's saying it's about even. Slight advantage for black. But that gets crazy. Really crazy. And that's a tough move to spot. You know, there's so many ways you can give up this bishop. That is not one I would have thought. You can try take with the bishop. Apparently that's just a straight blunder. Really? You don't even take the knight. You don't even take the knight. Really? You go rook c1. Why can't you take the knight? Because of... Oh, because the knight is still hanging. Ah, yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. So I wonder if f takes seems like the same sort of thing. After this, you've got a lot of things hanging. So, I wonder if bishop d4 then works at all. What's the answer here? Bishop d4. Knight takes... Oh, knight takes c4? Really? Wow. And then knight takes and you take? And where's this knight going? Knight to e4. Then you've got threats of push, maybe? You just go back to f6, apparently. Wow. I can see this being slightly better for black. You're on the upper pawn, but it's saying minus 2.7. That's crazy. But black's still not castled, and if they do castle, we can potentially break through quite easily. You know, we've got bishop to f5 possibilities coming. And their bishop's still not particularly great. And d3 at some point as well, potentially coming in the future. So I can see a lot of activity for black here. I personally wouldn't say minus 2.8, but, you know, computers are going to compute. Anyway, my opponent did the very, very human thing and just took my knight. I I think this is like I first calculated that this was fine for white, completely missing that the knight hangs at the end of it. But other than that, I think this is the completely right human move to do, and is only an inaccuracy at minus 0.4. Here we go. F takes bishop. Obviously, we want the piece back, and F takes is the best move. The problem here, I found this really nice resource, Queen G5. Now, if you can tell me what's good about Queen G5, I'd be very impressed. Not only is it hitting this pawn, it's also threatening knight takes G3. So if they do a waste of a move, knight takes G3 is absolutely beautiful. The problem is you're hitting the rook, and if they take your pawn, this is actually just checkmate. Wow. Wow. That is so cool. So they would have to move their rook somewhere. At which point maybe I thought queen h4. It wants queen takes e3 though, which just seems perfectly fine. If knight there, maybe you've got like rook takes. It just plays itself. Like, it just plays itself. Queen g1, the king comes up, you throw in the check. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Anyway, queen g5. They decide to go e4, which is a bit loose. Apparently the best move is knight d to e4, which seems really natural. I probably just take this still. But you're sort of struggling to kick out my queen from this spot. You can't really castle either side because my queen covers. So you're just sort of left in no man's land as white. But you're a bit more active as well. So I can see this being double-edged. But e4 is what was played, which just allows knight takes g3, which is a brilliant move. And if you saw my most recent short video, you would see this. Yeah, just really nice. There is a cool reply for white, which is knight to f3, which my opponent found. However, this allows another brilliant move, rook takes f3. Wow. I didn't think this was as tidy as it looked, but if you think about it, white's lack of development is just, yeah, it's nasty. You know, you just haven't castled, and you've not got a dark squared bishop to defend against these dark squared threats. This knight is completely just out of the game, which is scary. So yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? E takes f3, apparently the best move, which allows maybe queen e3, or you could just take the rook if you fancied it. But they decided to take with the bishop, at which point I take the rook. They take back, and you've got a couple different ways you can play this out as black. You could try just check straight away, and try carry on from that after king d2, which is forced. You could try h4 or something. You could try queen e3, or you could try like a bishop h3 and try get this rook in the game or something. Probably better to actually go g4 instead, just to prevent this bishop going to f3. I found this, I think, cool idea of going bishop h6. A bit of a slow move, but I think really cool, actually. And the whole reason we go bishop h6 is that this queen is threatening queen g1. And now with bishop on h6, we're actually covering this d2 escape square, even though our queen isn't here. So I think this is a really cool move, and it's a nice way to activate the bishop. You often see this sometimes. I don't think you can say often sometimes, but you see this sometimes in the King's Indian with the bishop coming to h6 and the queen coming to h4. So this is sort of similar. But in this situation, the whole idea is just to cut off this escape square. And you sort of can't really get out of it. You're forced to really go e3. Apparently, bishop g2 is playable just to sort of delay a bit. But the only real way to stop the mate is e3. And I just take, right? I just take. If you decide to go queen e2, I just take your rook, and then your knight, and then your rook, whatever you do really, which is nasty. So knight blocks on e2, and then You can play this a few ways. I think I decided to go bishop to g5, just threatening bishop h4. But I think this is slightly sloppy, actually. The computer wants bishop to g4 for some reason. And I think maybe just to get this rook on f8. Or just take and then check, or check. Could work as well. We can play this out, actually, the mate. Rook f8 here. Oh, that's quite nice. Giving up the bishop. That's a beautiful move, actually. Giving up this bishop, because after bishop takes, queen f2 is mate. Wow. With this bishop playing a crucial part, like I said. So that's quite cool. Queen b3. And then queen d2 supported by the bishop. King f1. And then bishop takes, looking for the discovery with the rook. Nasty stuff. They delay a few moves. Apparently queen takes is best. I'd prefer rook takes, surely. Queen takes f3 and then rook takes, and then mate to follow, hopefully. If I can calculate. Probably bishop f4. e3? e3? No, there's a better move. Bishop f4. Oh, bishop f4. Yeah. And then this is going to be mate. Anyway, what was the actual move? There, rook there, and I decide to go bishop g5. Is there anything else you can do in this situation? Apparently bishop d7 works as well. Just looking to get this rook in the game. But this is just, yeah, cruel. And I think my opponent resigned here. So double back-to-back brilliant moves, looking how you can sort of open the position, especially with an uncastled king. And limiting their ability to castle as well, I think is really, really important. So yeah, that's one of my favorite games I've played so far. Really cool ideas in there, and a beautiful way, I think, to finish the year. And it's been a great year, actually. I've had so much fun making these videos the past year. I know I started slightly before Christmas last year, but you know, it's been a full year. How cool is that? And we managed to get like 3,000 subscribers, which is so insane. So I'd just like to thank you all so much for watching. You know, I do this for fun. I do this to potentially help people. If anyone learns anything, you know, that makes it all worthwhile. So yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you all for watching as well. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. Catch you guys all next year. Yeah. Bye bye.